have a really sad story today about a Section 8 side deal gone wrong. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what that is, the story, but first I wanted to give you 3 market updates, what's going on with Section 8 rentals in Detroit, Michigan. If you want to skip that part, use the chapters link here and go right to the story. So 3 things are going on. 1, I am struggling to find Section 8 tenants. I never have had this problem before. It's like bruising my ego. And the reason is I've figured this out, but there is a solution. There's good news to this. There was a 3-year time period where we were all tied up in Detroit, Michigan, down here by the thumb. Right now I happen to be up here. We were all tied up in court. They were holding tenants in our houses. We were not getting rent. And it was pretty bad. Now all those houses, all the landlords that were tied up, they're all empty. Now everybody's getting their houses renovated. Now they're all listed for rent. And every one of these landlords that felt like they got done wrong by the courts, who also added 60 days to the eviction timeline because they thought, oh, let's help people with housing, don't help the landlords providing it. But anyway, all these people are like really upset, and they know that if they get a Section 8 tenant, the risk of them getting evicted is a whole lot lower. So they don't have to deal with the courts, and they're not going to be stuck with no income ever again. So everyone wants Section 8 right now. The good news is HUD has just announced that they are dumping a whole bunch of more money into the Section 8 program. I don't know how long that's going to take to get to Detroit, but meanwhile, I have had really good cash paying tenants come along, and I've been happy about them. And what's interesting is the population in Detroit is changing, because who can afford to live in the suburbs anymore with $3,000 a month rent? We just put a tenant in one of our Detroit houses. That's how much she was paying in the suburbs. And she moved to Detroit to get ahead. And her credit's not good enough. You know, if her credit was great, she'd go buy a house. But she moved to Detroit to fix up her credit, clean it up. She's got great income, but you can't do anything with $3,000 a month rent. So she moved to one of our houses for $1,300 a month rent. Investors have risk factors. When you are buying a Detroit property, there's lots of risks. People like to buy from us because it's newly renovated. They're not going to have that many repairs. It's a newly vetted tenant. So there shouldn't be issues. You know, there's no guarantee with tenants, but there shouldn't be as many issues with a newly vetted tenant. It's not like you're buying a house that somebody's selling because they just need to get rid of a bad tenant, you know? But another risk that a lot of people don't realize until they've been through it, they just don't believe me until they've been through it seems like, is the property management. There's a lot of really shady property management going on. And I've been a property manager. I'm not one now. It's really hard to make a living as a property manager, really hard. So it's not surprising to me when I hear owners tell me about getting ripped off, you know, from their property manager. I'm like, oh, the property manager had to make money. So my solution is I made an online course, and it's really pretty Detroit specific and Section 8 specific. And it goes into all the things that you would need to know to be successful in the city of Detroit with rentals, from protecting your house to how the water department works to passing a city certification, all the things that you would need to know. And all my forms and stuff are in my online course. And if you don't want to do it yourself, I recommend using my course and hiring an assistant to do it for you. So at least someone is actually advocating for you instead of for making money for their property management business, you know? And then I also have brought somebody on my team that is doing what I'm calling hybrid property management. So you could buy my course and have a lot more control over your investment, or you could use him for pieces of it, like finding the tenant or you know, figuring out or taking the maintenance calls or whatever piece you don't want to do. My third update, we have a house for sale right now, selling it for $78,000, and it gets $1,100 a month rent, 3 bedrooms, great numbers. The taxes are on the little bit of a lower end. I'm thinking they're around maybe $1,100 a year. The insurance is $900-ish a year. Great ROI. I had this buyer for it, and I told him, we're not done. We still need to paint it. And he looked it up online, and turns out it's Pepto-Bismol pink, you know, like really bad pink. And he just looked at it and said, no way, I'm not buying that. And then he said, I only want brick. I'm like, darn it, I don't like this. And so we used to always have brick houses, and that's what we did, but prices were lower. in the past than they are now. It's getting really hard to make a profit doing what we do, selling to investors. And I truly want to change and just sell to homeowners. But we're still working through our inventory. If you want to buy one of our houses, you got to get on my exclusive buyer list or use the link below to schedule a call with me on Calendly, and we can talk about what we have. But I was talking to the wholesaler that provides the houses to us that we predominantly use, and he said to get us brick, we would have to spend at least $20,000 more. So good luck finding a brick house that's newly renovated with a newly placed tenant. It's probably not going to happen. Just saying. You probably can find brick houses out there, but it's probably you're buying someone else's problem, because why would they sell it if it's doing great, So that's my other update. So let me get into my sad story. It's so sad. The nicest man reached out to me because he's been watching me on YouTube, and he said that he is in big trouble and he doesn't know what to do. He and his wife, hardworking people, used their little nest egg and they bought an investment property, and they had an applicant for their rental call with a sad story, single mom, whatever. And her voucher wouldn't cover the rent that he needed for this house. And she said, it's okay, I can just pay you the difference. Please, can I have this house? And his heart went out to her, and they got the side deal in writing, and he rented the house to her. If you are liking this video, I would be very appreciative if you like, subscribe, comment below. I try to keep up on all the comments. You can always contact me in the description box with Calendly if you're interested in buying my course, or if you're interested in talking to me about buying one of my rentals in Detroit. I just hit 10,000 subscribers. To all you people that are subscribed, thank you. That means so much to me. To those who haven't subscribed yet, now I'm just thinking about my next goal. So it'd be awesome if you subscribe. I just appreciate it so much. It keeps me motivated. Thank you. Well, she got behind on her rent. No big surprise, because the way Section 8 works is they examine the tenant's rent and they say 30% of your income has to go to paying rent, because that's an amount people can afford. It's a good rule in life. It's not really the reality of everyone. So she gets behind and he gets frustrated, and he knows that when a tenant has a lease violation, and it was in her lease, this side deal, he didn't know it was called a side deal, that when there's a lease violation, you can go to Section 8 and report it, and hopefully that helps and it scares the person from losing their voucher, and then the person behaves. So he marched right in there to Section 8 and he's like, look, right here, this is the amount she is supposed to be paying me. And Section 8 looked at it and said, no, it's not. That's a side deal. That's against the law. It's a federal offense, prosecutable. They took him off the Section 8 program, and they stopped the payments. And they went and canceled the tenant's Section 8 as well. She's no longer on the program. So he, in his big-hearted kindness, went to the tenant. He's like, what are we going to do? Because you owe me money. And this isn't going to work. And now Section 8 isn't paying me. And now they're not covering it for you. What are we going to do here? And she said, I will see you in court. This poor guy. And so he was asking me about how this is going to go in court. I'm no lawyer. I don't really know. He's in Massachusetts. He needs to ask an attorney. I know in Michigan, we have two different kind of cases you can do. You can do the one where you're asking for money, or you can do the one, just get out of my house. And I've sat in court enough that the minute you mention Section 8, it's like there's an attitude change amongst the judges, because there's a big push from them to make sure people are housed. Their goal is to keep people housed. And if you're doing anything that's not legal, and then they hear Section 8 on top of it, they're like, no. It's not going to go in your favor. I mean, I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just saying that's a bad idea. And I'm like, if there's any way you can do just the remove and stop trying so hard to get the money, because I don't think you're getting it. I think that's the better idea. But he's got to go talk to his lawyer and figure that all out. But I just feel horribly for him. I really, really feel horribly for him. And my message, if you didn't pick it up, don't do side deals. They're so tempting. We want the money, and it just sounds like such a good thing. And we're big-hearted people, typically, us small landlords. Just don't do it. And tenants, you're in trouble too. Don't do something that's going to make you lose your voucher. I know you want a better house. I get it. But that's just not the answer. Just don't do it. I appreciate you watching.